This is our 9th specific construction, and with this one, as is written on the paper, we want to construct a tangent to a circle from a given point that's outside the circle. So in this case, we've got point P that's outside of our circle, and we want to draw the line, or a line, that is tangent to this circle from this point. And as we learned about circles earlier, that if you have a point outside a circle, there are exactly two lines that are going to be tangent to this circle from this point, and we also know that those tangent segments from P to the circle are going to be congruent to each other. So essentially what we're going to do is try to create two congruent triangles, so to speak, and then with those congruent triangles we'll know that we have indeed tangent segments here. So first let's start by connecting the center of our circle with our point outside the circle. So in this case we're connecting point C and point P. It doesn't need to be a really dark line, but we want that line nonetheless. So now that we've connected point C and point P, what we're going to do is we are going to draw the perpendicular bisector of CP. So using your compass, pick a length that is more than halfway, and draw an arc above and below. Without changing the length on your compass, move to point P and do the same thing. Now those 2 points where our arcs intersect, those both lie on the perpendicular bisector. So we are going to draw that segment or line right now. So we've got this line right here, that's the perpendicular bisector of CP. Now the reason I'm doing this is that's going to become a new point. We can call it whatever we want. I'm going to call it M for this, for our sake right now. And we're going to use M and call that the center of a circle. So what we're going to do is take our compass and we're going to measure the distance from point M to point C. Now if we've done this correctly, point M should be the center of the circle whose radius is MC, or you could think of it as MP, because this is the midpoint. So if I go to the other side, it should intersect. Hopefully I didn't move my compass. It looks like I did. Which doesn't matter too much, because what I want now is the point where this new circle intersects our first circle. So this point right here and this point right here, these are both equidistant from point M because they're radii of that circle. So if you think of it this way, we've got this segment here congruent to each other. We also know that this distance here is congruent to itself, so we have reflexive property with CM. All these things that we can talk about with triangles allow us to prove definitively that this segment right here is going to have to be tangent to this segment right here. And the reason we'll know that to be true is because if you draw this line right here, this line is going to be perpendicular to that tangent line, and we know that if a radius is perpendicular to a line at a point on the line, then that first line has to be tangent. So that's how you draw a tangent to a circle from a point outside the circle. So again, I'll do this really quickly and kind of talk through it as I go. If you've got some point, I'll put the point over here. Call this point A. The first thing you do is you connect your center to the point outside the circle. So we're going to draw the segment connecting AC. Then we want to draw the perpendicular bisector of our newly drawn segment. So we're drawing arcs above and below. Going over to C, doing the same thing. Barely made it. Draw your perpendicular bisector. We want to cut this segment in half because that point where that's our midpoint of AC is our new center for our circle. So this point right here, using your compass, figure out how far it is from that midpoint to your center of your circle. Figure out then where that new circle would intersect. And those points now become the points of tangency in relation to A outside of your circle. So connecting A to those points, you should be able to draw the tangent segments from point A through the circle. And those lengths should be congruent to each other. So that's how you draw a tangent to a circle from a point outside of the circle.